तिमिरान्तस्य ज्ञानजनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादा सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. All right, so last week we studied chapter 12 text 1. I'll do a little bit of recap. So Arjun asked, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in a devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So basically, it's the age-old question about personalism versus impersonalism. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport explaining both and why one is superior over other. And today we will cover a couple of 3 verses where Krishna will also be saying the same here, how Krishna actually describes his opinion about personalism versus impersonalism. Yet we see a lot of impersonalists somehow. Anyway, so Ragni Mataji, would you like to read text 2?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Chapter 12, text 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha me avesya mano yemam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayupetaste me yuktatma martaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, do you want me to read text 3 also? Hare
Sure,
Krishna. Text 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Ye tu
And then 5
aksharam.
also after that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Ye tu aksharam anirdesyam avyaktam paryupasate sarvatragam achintyam cha kutastam achalam dhruvam sanniyamiyendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapanvunanti mam eva sarva bhutahite rataha. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Text 5. Klesho dikhatarastesam avyaktasaktachetasam avyaktahi gatir dukkham deha vabdir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal future of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in the discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So first text, Arjuna is asking Krishna, what is better, personalism or impersonalism? Now, last week, for those of you who attended, we went into great lengths in explaining personalism versus impersonalism. I would love for one of you to volunteer and share with the rest of us who weren't there for Durga Puja to explain Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So for those of you who are there, kindly somebody can volunteer and explain what is personalism, what is impersonalism, and what's the difference between the two. Shivam, go ahead.
Okay, I will try to explain the difference between personalism and impersonalism. So, yeah,
First, tell us what is
according to
personalism, what is impersonalism, and then tell us the difference.
okay, so personalism is the relationship between a devotee and Krishna is on a more personal level, on a more individualistic level. For
Yes.
example, I am considering Krishna to be my friend.
Hmm.
Uh, and I want Krishna to guide me from a perspective on how a friend does. That's
Hmm.
uh, that's personalism, and
Hmm.
impersonalism is, for example, a worshipper. He or she considers that Krishna is there as a kind of as a form of any energy, not
Ah.
more personal or individualistic level. That
Hmm.
is impersonalism.
Very nice. And so the difference between the two. So what's the difference? If I'm an impersonal devotee, I wouldn't say devotee. I'm an impersonalist and I'm a devotee. What's the difference between the two in our approach to God? Maybe Shivam, you
Yes,
can
yes, Prabhu.
leave that. If you want to answer, you can.
Okay.
Somebody else can also answer.
All right. So I'm leaving it for somebody else.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Shivam. You did a great job. Okay. Who wants to explain the approach difference between impersonalist versus the personalist? Prayash?
Prabhuji, if somebody want to worship, like accept the personalist aspect, they will do deity worship and like see Lord as a
Not the
person.
what, but the approach towards God. The difference, how I approach God as a devotee versus how I approach God
Ah,
as a as a impersonalist.
oh, so if somebody is a personalist, they see God as a person, maybe
Hmm.
friend. There are different rasas.
Hmm.
So somebody sees as friend, somebody sees as the supreme lord, somebody
Hmm.
sees as their children, their child, somebody sees in a different way. So there are different modes of uh, seeing the Lord. In personalism, in
Right.
impersonalism, there is an energy. You either fear God, most cases you fear the energy that is there, and you are mostly you don't know, like, um you cannot create a connection with
Hmm.
the impersonal God, because you cannot create a connection with energy. So that's the main difference in the approach.
Hmm. 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 Very nice, Prayash. So it's one is transactional, the other one is relationship based. So what Prayash said, one sees God as a friend, as a lover, as a master, whatever else. The common thing amongst all of those, Indranath, you can stop sharing the screen. The common thing amongst all of those is the fact that Krishna is being seen as a person, and there's relationship between the two. Relationship means exchange, loving exchange, sometimes sacrificial exchange, sometimes selfless loving exchange. But impersonal aspect, the energy is transactional. Like in the book of secrets, the law of attraction, right? I think and abundance manifests. I want a car, I want a house, I want this and that. And that whatever that impersonal conception is basically to deliver my desires, right? That's the idea. So there is no relationship. There is no selfless, or there is no love. It is transactional. That's the difference. So as a result, the word rasa means relationship flavor. It also means juicy, right? So when there is love, it is juicy. Like the gopis gossiping about Krishna, or Krishna stealing butter, or Mother Yashoda running after Krishna with a stick. Our Kartik month is starting shortly. So all of that has so much joy, so much variety of enjoyment, where in different relationships, one is experiencing God in very, very unique ways, versus in a energy relationship. I don't know this relationship. There's just maybe prayer at most, and one gets their prayers resolved and they're happy. That's about it. So that's the difference between the two. Now, the next verse, Krishna is speaking, and he's talking about, let me pull out. Give me a second. Thank you very much, Indranath. Can you read the translation for me, Indranath? You're muted in case you're trying to read.
Yes, Prabhuji. 12.2, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." Perfect also?
Hold on, it's okay. So Krishna is saying, those who fix their minds on my personal form, right? So that's very important. Krishna has a form. Krishna is not energy. God bless me. Sorry, I'm just looking at this massive bus that's wobbling like a mad elephant. Just so you guys know, I'm in this place in Maharashtra called Ichalkaranji, and I'm going to Kolkata. It's crazy here. Anyway, so those who there's two things here in the two words, personal and form. Personal means personality. You can't offer meat to Krishna and expect him to take it just because you offer it. Krishna has the ability to say, no, thank you, I don't accept that, right? So he has a personality. He has likes and dislikes. He has ways he acts. He's not a waiter that he will order supply as per our needs, right? So he has a personality, and he has a beautiful form. We call him Sham Sundar. Sundar means beautiful, and he's dark in complexion. Sham Sundar, right? So Krishna has a dark complexion, but he's extremely beautiful, and that's his form. He's so beautiful that sometimes the gopis and Radharani, they forget, what they were doing. They faint just seeing Krishna, So that's Krishna. So he has a form that is very, very beautiful. And although it is spiritual, it's not material. Like, the class I teach in the US, we are studying Ishopanishad, where it is describing that Krishna doesn't have veins. Although he has blood, he has no veins. His body is not material, right? Yet when Bhishma Dev is throwing arrows at Krishna, Krishna bleeds, but he has no veins. So try to understand that, right? So Krishna has a form, and many people who are supposedly great sages or great speculators or munis, they take the Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and all that, and make it into like, oh, Ram is the mind, or Krishna is the mind, the Pandavas are the five senses, and all that kind of stuff, which sounds very fancy, but are not true. It's the poet's imagination at best. Krishna has a form, and people have an issue with that. Impersonalists have an issue with the fact that Krishna has a form. And this issue comes from envy, right? Now, we might not recognize it's envy. It is natural. So those of us who have this human body, it's material body rather, not just human body, it's a flag. that basically says, I am envious of Krishna. The fact that we are in this material world is because we have envy in our heart for Krishna. The day we are able to resolve that, we are able to love Krishna and be attracted by Krishna and not compare, oh, why is that devotee getting close to Krishna and not me? Why is that devotee progressing but not me? That goes away because we are not envious anymore. The envy is gone. In fact, we see somebody moving towards Krishna, we give them more. Oh, like Ambarish Maharaj, right? What's his name? Durvasa Muni tried to kill Ambarish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni finally, he went to Lord Narayan, and Lord Narayan had sent his Sudarshan Chakra to kill him. So he went to Lord Narayan, and Lord Narayan said, sorry, I can't do anything. You tried to kill my devotee. Only if my devotee forgives you, then you can be saved. So he came and fell at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj. He said, please forgive me, or else this heat of this Sudarshan Chakra, is killing me. I'm going to die. Please help me. And Ambarish Maharaj's response was, if there's any good karma I've done in this life or last, may all those good karma go to you, O Durvasa. That is the nature of a devotee, right? So that's how devotees think. Non-envious devotees think like that. If somebody is even the slightest bit appreciative of Krishna, they encourage them rather than like, oh, you're advancing more than me, right? So by default, we all have this envious nature. Now, thank God we're devotees, so that envious nature is slowly getting burnt out. But unfortunately, those who are more have the tendency of impersonalism, it is an indication that they can't take Krishna's beautiful form. It is something that comes naturally to them to worship an energy rather than the person. Now, it is also true that logically, if you pursue God, logically, you can only come to the understanding that there is a higher energy, and that's about it. You cannot come to the understanding, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna as a blue, skinned boy playing the flute on the banks of Yamuna. It doesn't come logically to us. It is absolutely illogical that God is a little boy on the banks of Yamuna, sealing the hearts of gopis and being who he is, right? So that part comes from bhaktas, from bhakti literatures, like Srimad Bhagavatam, like Padma Purana. The Puranas are all talking about this bhakti element, which is crucial in understanding Krishna. There's no other way to know Krishna other than through the knowledge coming from bhakti literatures and from the bhaktas' realizations. But logically, if one is an atheist and one concludes, okay, what am I doing? Is there God? Why is there injustice? This, that. Finally, they can come to the conclusion that there must be a higher power for this whole universe to function. There must be a higher power for creation to exist. There must be something beyond what we can touch, feel, and see. That's naturally a conclusion. So it is quite possible. So there are two kinds of impersonalists. One kind of impersonalist is the innocent kind, who are on their logical reasoning coming to the understanding that there must be God. And the only, due to lack of knowledge, the only conclusion they can come to is that God is impersonal. And the other kind is they have all the knowledge, and whatever they read, they only see the impersonalistic aspect of God. And I'm going to share something, funny with you. So when Krishna was invited by Kamsa, this Krishna was, I think at that time, 12 years old or so. So he came to Mathura, and Kamsa basically wanted to kill Krishna. That's why he invited him. You're just driving around for, are you lost? You okay? Okay. So basically Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna. So first, this massive mammoth came to destroy Krishna. Krishna threw the mammoth away, literally killed it. Then came Chanur and Mushtika, who were actually wrestlers, the best wrestlers that Kamsa had. And, Krishna slapped the two of them, beat them, and they were done. You can turn off the car. And they were dead. And then Krishna went up to Kamsa and killed him with a slap. literally just slapped him, Kamsa died. And Kamsa was so powerful that he actually took that elephant and he swirled it around and threw it, and it fell in the tent of his father-in-law to be, who was so impressed that he gave his daughter to Kamsa. So Kamsa is a very powerful man, and Krishna was able to kill Kamsa with a slap. Now, the interesting thing was when Krishna entered Kamsa's courtyard, where Chanura and Mushtika were there, different devotees or different people saw Krishna differently. The devotees, they saw Krishna as their ladla, their little boy of Vrindavan. The ladies, they saw Krishna as a charming prince of Vrindavan. The parental, affectionate people, they saw Krishna as the little, Lala, as they call him. The impersonalists actually saw Brahmajyoti walking in. The so like that, everybody was seeing different. The impersonalists could not see the personal aspect of Krishna. They actually saw light, that's what they could perceive, because that's so ye tamam prapadyante tamsateva bhajamyaham. To the way you approach Krishna, to that way Krishna reciprocates with you. So who was approaching Krishna and giving that as, and Krishna is all of that and more. So the Brahmajyoti is Krishna's bodily effulgence, right? Same Krishna is a charming prince. He is somebody's boy. He is, everything that everybody else is. And for the demons, Kamsa saw death personified. Krishna was death personified. Kamsa knew he's over. He's done. In fact, when even before Devaki could have her first baby, when Devaki got married to Vasudeva, Kamsa was like, I'm going to, be your charioteer and take you to your in-laws. There only the demigods made a proclamation that the 8th child in Devaki's womb is going to kill you, Kamsa. So Kamsa, when he saw Krishna, he was like, it's over, game over. So for him, he was death. So whoever sees, however, that's what they see. So when we go to the temple, we see wood, marble, brass. We see, that's how we get the reciprocation. There's no reaction. When we see, this is Krishna. Prabhupada says so. The scriptures say so. This is the personality of Godhead. He actually eats when we offer him bhoga. He actually reciprocates with the prayers of devotees. He enjoys the kirtans devotees are singing. That's when we give our hearts out to the Lord, and the Lord gives his hearts out to us, and we feel that reciprocation. That just right next to me is Vishal Prabhu sitting here. So he's also part of Philosophy Friday. Took me digital current just
Your voice is
so
breaking.
it's like, no, skip. Very beautiful. Now, if you see them as dolls, as brass dolls, they're just brass dolls. But when you see this is God, this is Krishna, he reciprocates with, a new vision every day. I would look every single day, they would have a different mood, a different expression. I can't explain how that works, but it does. It's amazing. Mayapur, if you go to Vrindavan, you'll see your local ISKCON temple. If you carefully notice them day in, day out, their expressions change. Even if you have pictures on your altar and you're worshiping them as Krishna, you will see they're not the same every day, right? But if you see them just as a picture, it's just printed paper, that's what you get, right? So how we approach him, that's how he reciprocates. So here, Krishna is saying in text 2 of chapter 12, that those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshiping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Now, who's grading us here? It's Krishna. So if Krishna is saying it's most perfect, it must be perfect. What other option do we need? But Krishna still gives us options. So next verse, Krishna goes to the extent of saying But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immovable, impersonal conception of absolute truth, basically Brahmajyoti, or impersonal aspect of God, which is all-pervading and everywhere. By controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. So Krishna is saying, you can achieve me through this also. But there's a different kind of achievement. So Brahman realization or Brahman liberation is the first level of moksha or mukti, where one merges into the Brahmajyoti. But that's the lowest level. In fact, the demons who get killed by Krishna or who died in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because they saw Krishna at the time of their death, or at least they saw Krishna, that was qualification enough for them to get liberation. And they all got liberation in the Brahmajyoti, not beyond that, because they don't have love for Krishna. But those who have love for Krishna, those who have feelings for Krishna, such people, they go beyond Brahmajyoti. So in Vaikuntha, there's another kind of liberation. It's called Sayujya Mukti or Sarupya Mukti. You know, like you have the same opulence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna, right? Imagine Krishna so much wealth and this and that. You have like that. Or Sarupya Mukti, which is you look like Narayan, like four-armed form. Like Vishnu Dutas, they all look like Lord Narayan, right? They're blue, they're four-armed form, holding Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. The only difference between them and Lord Narayan is the Kasturba jewel that he wears on his necklace and the little white hair he has on his chest. That's how you know this is Lord Narayan, and others are the servants of the Lord. Sarupya Mukti. Then there is Salokya Mukti. You get liberation in the same planet as the Supreme Lord, right? So like Goloka, we all want to go to Goloka, like the cow Loka, right? Goloka, the planet of cows. So Krishna is a cowherd boy. He has the gopis, the gopas, the cows, and he's having fun. He's playing all day, dancing all night. That's where we want to be. So that's possible only when you have a relationship with Krishna. For the rest of the folks, you know, impersonal liberation is the best they can hope for. Now, the problem with impersonal liberation is because by nature, you know, if I ask any of you to sit quietly, I know for a fact behind the Zoom, you guys are all looking here, looking there, playing with your phone, looking at WhatsApp, because that's the nature of the soul. We are not sthira. We are not fixed. We are chanchala. We like activity. But when you get liberated in Brahmajyoti, you're all in, not you, but those who get liberated in Brahmajyoti, they are all Om, right? It's just peace. And it's boring after a while. Then guess what happens? They fall down from there and they again come back and they start again, right? Now, as I was saying initially, there's two kinds of impersonalists. One is the innocent impersonalists. By logic, they've come to the understanding there's God. It's a higher energy. Now, if you give them more knowledge, they will come to the understanding of Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that Bahunam Janmana Mante, after many, many births, people come to the realization, Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate, they surrender unto me, who are Jnanavans, who are knowledgeable people, that Vasudevam Sarvamiti, Vasudev, Krishna, is end all be all. Some Mahatma, such a great person, Sudurlabha, is very hard to find. So those who are impersonalist but are open to knowledge can come to that understanding that Krishna is end all be all after many lifetimes and get to the same, relationship, bhakti, and all of that. The other kind of the envious impersonalists are the ones who, no matter what you say, they will only find impersonalism. Like those people who are seeing Krishna as Brahmajyoti in Kamsa's courtyard, right? They can't see beyond that because they don't want to. And they can't be changed. And it is recommended by scriptures not to listen to such people's lectures, not associate with such people, because it's like poison. It is described as milk that is pure milk. That is pure milk. It looks like milk, tastes like milk. Milk that is touched by the fangs of a serpent or a snake, it also looks like milk, tastes like milk, but when you drink it, you die. So similarly, hearing Mayavada philosophy or impersonalistic philosophy leads to the death of one's spiritual life. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Mayavada bhashya shunile hoy sarvanash. Sarvanash means all end, over of your spiritual life. So it's important that we disassociate emotionally from people who are impersonalistic, Mayavadi by nature. Not we disregard them, we disrespect them. No, we don't do that. But we don't take guidance from them. We don't listen to their lectures. We don't open our hearts to these kinds of people because they are envious of Krishna and their knowledge can be like milk touched by the fangs of a serpent. I'm not saying it. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying it, right? This is an example coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So I'll pause here and see if you guys have any questions. Oh no. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any question or any clarification or anything you want to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask that as Krishna mentioned, that impersonalists also at last achieve me. But according to their activities and their philosophy, they can't actually reach the personal format because they're envious and they take Krishna as an image. So, like, how are they achieving Krishna? Or like, is there something where they get upgraded or something?
Bahunam Janmana Mante, like I said. So those who are impersonalist but open to new knowledge, they can receive higher knowledge and come to the higher stages of liberation and achieve. Or they can get impersonal liberation also, which is also liberation. It is spiritual. It is not material. It is low grade, but it is liberation. So even through that process, one comes to liberation, but not the kind that we are looking for. But there's reciprocation, fun, and frolic. Now let's hear Krishna's own words, right? Fifth text. So let's hear Krishna's own words, what he says about this. So here he's saying, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So Krishna's not recommending this process. He's saying it's extremely difficult. And in text 2, Krishna said personalism is something he considers them perfect, who are personalists. And impersonalism, yes, you can receive liberation in the Brahma Jyoti. And even that is very, very hard to accomplish, because just imagine trying to focus on nothing or just energy. We are not like that. Every billboard has a face on it. Why? Because human beings are by nature personalist. We connect with other persons. We find happiness when a person connects with another person. Faces are important. Form is important. We are attracted to beautiful people. Why? That's how we are designed. That's why Krishna is why is named Krishna? All attractive. Because he's very, very beautiful. He's powerful. He's knowledgeable. He's most renounced, right? He has all these qualities that make him attractive. But beauty being the highest, on all of these 6 opulence of Krishna, beauty being the highest, right? So we are by default personalists. But when you try to be impersonalistic, and it's difficult because that's not who we are. But even if one is able to do that, one can get some level of liberation. And then according to scriptures, many of them do fall down from there because it gets boring for them. Does it answer your question, Krishanu?
Yes, Prabhuji, surely this text is actually very having that clarity.
All right. Anything else? Anybody has any questions or want to share? All right. So I will pause here for today. I'm leaving a little early because I'm not in the best of situations. There's a car running, and my internet connection is also a little choppy. So next week I will see you in a better situation. But I hope this helps. And Indranath, if you can send me the recording
Yes,
by
Prabhuji.
Google Drive, that would be stellar.
Sure. Yeah, I will do it.
Or I can make you a manager on my YouTube channel, and you can just directly upload it to YouTube.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada
Hare
ki jai.
Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavad
Thank
Gita
you,
ki jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Have a good night.